Now in India, anything that's big, beefy and high off the ground is considered an SUV. But to truly be an SUV, you need some hardware to drive all four wheels. Well, that's what we have here, the Renault Duster all-wheel drive. Now this has been manufactured in India for a while at the plant, but predominantly for export. It's now going to be available in India. Can it really be a mudslinger? Well, that's what we're on our way to find out. The outskirts of Pune were going to provide a good playground for the Duster's new hardware. But on the way to the Lavasa off-road track, we got a good chance to reflect on the qualities of the Duster that always impressed us. Having driven it after a long while, I really feel this ride quality is quite exceptional. It goes over the rough road without letting you feel it that much inside the cabin. The addition of independent suspension at all four corners has just improved the ride even more. The Duster single-handedly changed the fortunes of Renault in India and went on to become the top-selling SUV in the country for a while. And the more you drive it, the more you realize why. It doesn't feel like a high-off-the-ground SUV when you're behind the wheel. It drives more like a car. The handling is really nice. This car loves corners. You can chuck it around them and have quite a load of fun. It feels stable and planted. As we drove down, we realized that apart from the obviously new electronically controlled 4x4 system, there were some other changes too. The clutch felt lighter and easier to use, and the gear ratios had changed as well, making this 108.5 bhp engine more responsive. It has a very strong mid-range. And in fact, coming up the ghat, I was quite amazed with it because very often around the hairpin bends, I didn't even need to move into first. I could just swing around them in second and go up. The earlier problem of a weak bottom end has definitely been addressed. And now this engine feels way more drivable than before. We realized that the first gear was shorter too, maxing out at 30 kilometers an hour. This was going to make it easy to crawl down steep slopes when mudslinging. Well, talking about mudslinging, we had reached our off-road trail. There's 3 different modes you can use it in. There's two-wheel drive, which one generally uses when we're driving in the city or on tarmac. This mode keeps it permanently front-wheel driven. Then there is auto, which when you're going over some rough stuff and some uneven conditions, you can switch it into. Auto sends a part of the power to the rear wheels when the system detects that the front wheels are losing traction. And of course, there's 4-wheel drive, which you can lock it into, but that only works as permanent 4-wheel up to about 60 kilometers an hour. After 60 kilometers an hour, it shifts back into auto. There are also some other valuable additions to this car, like traction control and hill start assist. And the only thing that lets me know that the systems are working is the traction control light, which I've seen coming on and off at times when slip is being detected and power is being transferred to where it's needed. The off-road trail was the perfect way to test the capabilities of the new addition to the Duster. There were steep grassy inclines, soft slippery wet mud, slushy sections, some large rocks and even a small river crossing. The large 205mm ground clearance ensured that the Duster went over rocks that we were pussyfooting over without a worry and honestly surprised us. The Duster did more than I expected it to. It's not a rock climber, but it can do a fair bit of off-roading. Rough road, a whole load of stones, dirt, muck, slush. However, inside the cabin, I feel like nothing's going on outside. The ride quality of the Duster amazed us even over the rough stuff. It really keeps you comfortable at all times on the inside. Which brings us to the interiors. The front seats are comfortable and the rear bench has enough knee room for most frames. And the boot can swallow a whole load of luggage. For this drive, we have 3 medium suitcases, 2 haversacks and a full-size tripod packed into the boot, no problem at all. So the Duster was always a practical package in a practical size. But now it gets some additional changes on the interior to make it even better on the inside. So this 4x4 Duster also gets some new additions on the inside. There's a soft touch plastic on the top of the dashboard. In fact, it's two-tone. Now you get a darker shade of grey and a lighter one. There's a 3-spoke steering. You get a triple instrument cluster. Of course, the all-wheel drive knob. There's a beehive patterned two-tone seat covering now, and you get this nice door pad with the stitching down it. So some pretty interesting and new touches on the inside as well. The exterior also gets a few nips and tucks. Most noticeable are what Renault call the anthracite alloy wheels, which means smoked grey alloys. There are also darkened headlamp clusters and matte black B-pillars on the RXZ trim. Apart from these, it's just the all-wheel drive badging and the 4x4 moniker at the back that differentiate it. The Duster was always a capable SUV, and I think the addition of this 4x4, the all-wheel drive, has made it even more so. This is a car that you can do your weekend getaways with, pile a whole load of luggage in, drives nicely, and as you've seen, goes over the rough stuff pretty darn well. In fact, it went over a whole load more than we expected it to. So you can do your fair bit of off-roading. It's a car that you can really have fun with, and I think this has been a positive addition.